Welcome to the Entrepreneur Happy Hour, where we dive into the world of business. I'm your host, Kimberly Denise, and each week we will bring you inspiring interviews, insightful business trends, and stories from entrepreneurs around the globe. Join us as we explore their journeys, uncover the highs and lows, and everything in between. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned business owner, there is something here for you. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and let's talk about business. Memphis native Brandon Lewis is leaving a lasting impression in listeners and his community. The greatest joy that he has comes from serving the Memphis music community with quality information and processes to become better. He's an independent writer, producer, engineer who has partnered with major labels like Atlantic Records and Memphis-based music tech company Sound Credit. If you get anything from this episode, he wants you to know how to better manage music business and career opportunities as an active creative. All right, on to the episode. All right, Brandon, I got you out of the studio.
That's right.
And here with me. Yeah. You're in my spot today. Right. I am so excited to have you. And I just want to go ahead and kick this off, get started.
Sure.
And I've got some icebreaker questions to start.
You got?
Okay, so the name of the podcast is the Entrepreneur Happy Hour. The tagline is grab your favorite beverage and let's talk about business.
Okay.
What's your favorite beverage?
Water.
Water.
Gotta be.
All day.
Yeah. Not all day. Favorite beverage is water.
Okay.
But sometimes I'm really a southern guy too. Now, sweet tea.
Okay.
I love me some sweet tea, but I have to watch it, being in the studio. When you're trying to record a lot, the honest truth is you got to take care of your voice. And that's something that a lot of singers don't promote. We just like to make it look good and not tell people what we're really doing, but we are taking care of our voice. So drinking water, I'm making myself it be my favorite beverage. So,
I love that.
Yeah, so water for sure, yeah.
I love that. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So, next question. What's a fun fact about you that most people don't know?
Fun fact about me that most people don't know. I am the baby of 7. Yeah,
wow.
I have 6 siblings, yeah. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
And you're the baby.
I was the number 7. Yeah.
So you spoiled. That's what you're telling me.
Not spoiled. Not spoiled. I missed that one for some reason growing up. I missed the spoiled.
They got tired after the first 6.
Yeah, because everybody was older than me, My father was a little older when I was born already. And so, my brothers and sisters were kind of like in the world, for most of my younger years, and then growing up, people figuring themselves out. That's how my brothers and sisters were. And then when they got kids and grew up, lives, they got busy. And so that thing, when I say that, I get that a lot about the spoiled thing. But no, I got a chance to learn. I'll say that. I got a chance to learn from my siblings and observe, and figure out some of the directions I wanted to take and some directions I did not want to take. So that was the benefit of being a baby at 7, for sure.
I love that so much, that you were able to learn.
That's right, yeah.
Being the youngest. That's awesome. So before we hop in, and I've already done kind of a short little intro, but I would love for the listeners to hear from you about Brandon Lewis music, because what I love about you, first of all, is the way that we connected about 4 years ago.
That's right.
Went through a facilitator training for a program. Co-starters, we don't have to keep it a secret.
That's
Shout
right.
out.
That's right.
We were getting trained to be facilitators to help other entrepreneurs. And, at that time, you really wanted to help entrepreneurs in the music industry.
Right. It's so important, yeah.
So tell us a little bit more, because I don't think people really think about that, right? I think a lot of people, when they think of entrepreneurship, the first thing that comes to mind somebody with a briefcase,
Yeah.
right? They're working in an office
Sure.
setting. They're doing something traditional. Maybe they're a consultant, maybe they're something else. But what I love about this podcast is being able to show the diversity of entrepreneurship. So tell us more about Brandon Lewis Music.
So when it comes to entrepreneurship in the music business, I always give the example of doctors and lawyers, that we should get the same respect. But if we're going to get the same respect, we have to approach business as business and not just music. The other part of music business is business. And so if we don't have a clue of where we should be, we don't know where we're going. We have no direction on where we're going. And I think, that years ago, when I was exposed to doing better business, especially the mentors and the people that I was around at the time, going through a process like a co-starters or the program that you have now, which I'd want to kind of counter and talk about as well too, because it's furthering the entrepreneurial skills in the city of Memphis, so that's important. But as a musician, as a singer-songwriter, record producer, it is important to understand revenue streams and how do you actually get paid. And one of the longest running commentaries is that songwriters don't get paid. Well, I'm here to say that we do get paid, but we have to have diversified thinking, and we can only do that when we understand that we are a business and we are entrepreneurs in the music industry, in the music business. And that can come through a lot of different ways. There are so many ways that a writer can get paid, as long as you are thinking about how many ways you can get paid. Is it per song? Is it per chorus? Is it per verse? Is it background vocals? Is it arrangement that you're getting paid for? All of these are separate things that can happen, but you have to have something set up that causes, let's call it a client. Because you could say it's an artist, you could say it's another writer or a producer, somebody you're working with, but truly those are clients when you look at yourself as a business. You're bringing on clientele to create cash flow. Cash flow creates revenue, and so we're going from step to step to step. And not only do I do it through my processes with Brandon Lewis Music, which is first name, last name, and then music with it, that is part of a brand, and the back end is my publishing company, which is Blue Music Publishing. So the face value is like being the president, and we know Congress makes all the decisions, So there's a team that comes with Blue Music Publishing. There's other people that advise on sync licensing opportunities and publishing deals, and that's what I generate revenue through, is publishing. And so as an entrepreneur, knowing that I have to have my own publishing entity set up, it helps kind of control the narrative when we take on partnerships and work out deals with major labels, like my partnership with Atlantic. I'm a songwriter there, which is a blessing. And we have some local companies here in Memphis that I've worked with for quite some time. And again, all of this is through entrepreneurship. It is taking the step forward. If you're gifted and talented at something and you want to turn it into a business, I'm talking to you, And no matter if I'm singing a song and you're hammering nails because you have a construction company, it is all about balancing the books and making sure that money is coming in and expenses are being monitored. So running a functional business, bringing in new clients, trying to find ways to market yourself and run advertisements, all of that is happening in the music business. And a lot of money is being generated, yeah.
I love that so much. Everything that you just said, I have so many thoughts about that because obviously I'm not in the music business. I can carry a note, I can, but
All right, we can get you in the studio.
I'm background though. I'm all background. I can't do the riffs and the runs, but you need a strong alto. I got you.
That's a position, so Noted.
But I love just hearing everything that you just said. My wheels are turning so much because you just opened my eyes to so much more. I have a relative, a cousin, a first cousin that's a professional drummer. You know him.
That's right. Shout out to Chris Pat.
Shout out to Chris Pat.
The incredible, the one and only Chris Pat.
But, and I've seen the work that he's done and everything. And
that's right.
he's created a brand. But I love that you've done that, right? So like you have your publishing company, but you also have you, the brand.
That's right.
Right? You're an artist, you're a songwriter, like all of these things.
That's right.
Producer.
That's right. Absolutely.
All of that. So I love so much about that. And like you said about diversifying, getting out of that thinking that there's just one way
That's right.
in your industry to make money.
That's right.
Tapping into the other ways.
That's right.
I think that's so creative.
You know, we have to have the same ambition that all entrepreneurs have. And one of the things that I see with creatives is that we tend to be lazy. You know, when if it's not the song being written or it's not the chords being played, we don't have any interest in it for some reason. And I'm the voice and reason, hopefully, for a lot of talents and young upcoming talents, and even some establishing artists, of trying to find the best ways to build bigger than a brand, but stability for ourselves as creators, because there is the big crash and burn. And I really have a huge heart for creatives not seeing their fullest potential. And sometimes our expectation is only put on how far our songs go and not how far our bank account stretched over a period of a career. And that's what I've learned from the legends that I have been blessed to hang out with, be mentored by, learn so much impactful and empowering information from. These are the things that I'm sharing, you know, giving back out. And that's the only reason I'm able to share a little of the wisdom, is because it was given to me.
Right.
And I know some of the things to look for. I don't know everything, but I know some of the things to look for to have a better process as a music creative. Yeah. And that's really just being, again, diverse, not thinking it's all coming from, if I said I write songs, why can't I be an executive producer? If I understand songwriting, why can't I bring in other people that also know how to program music and play keys, and then I produce the record? You know, why can't I break down my infrastructure to verse and chorus? One of them costs more than the other one. Who says I can't do that?
Right.
That's entrepreneurship.
Right.
That's me taking the initiative to find ways to generate income. You know, that's entrepreneurship. I don't necessarily want to work for an entity that controls the narrative of my output. So if that's the option, and the only other option is to do a lot of the things yourselves until you can build a team that can do them with you, is to take the initiative to start doing those things.
I love what you just said about controlling the narrative of your output.
Yeah, that's right.
So because you're able to control your output, right? You're able to control that. I want to learn more about when this started for you. I want to learn more about your entrepreneurial journey. Like, when did you know that you wanted to control the narrative of your output, and this is something I want to do, I want to pursue this, right?
Great question. Yeah, great question. I really realized that there was two times that happened. One furthered my thought process, and so let me start with the first one. When I got connected with the consortium MMT, which I am now the director of the organization, which is a blessing. So I'm still in the Memphis music community that way. And when I first got with the organization, we also have the talent development complex. Well, at the talent development complex, which you can catch me at a lot of times, I'm talking about music business. And that we had consultations at the time. There was a team of people that was there. So shout out to Renisha Mays, incredible music business executive that shared the music business with me then, and I was in my early 20s, and I did not have a clue about publishing and copyrights and distribution. I had no idea of how to function. That was the first time that I associated business with music. That was outside of the creativity, is when I had somebody sit me down and show me that there were some registration processes I needed to take to collect royalties. So that was the first time, okay. Right. The second time was when I signed my first record deal. And that's when it got into controlling the narrative, you know? Because creative control, when you work with a company, is a thing. Because sometimes companies feel like if they're funding the processes, that there should be some control on the ROI. So if we know how to sell it this way, we're going to market and promote it this way. It needs to sound this way. You have to look this way because we know how to sell it this way. Well, controlling the narrative as an independent creative is now trying to find a way to restructure that deal, which in that process you get motivated to continually restructure the process so that you don't have to return to the same infrastructure. And that's me being diplomatic about how music business works, So I learned a lot in that process by looking over a 30-some-odd page contract over and over and over and over again, trying to figure out how to negotiate the right terms and the right situation for myself. It pushed me to be a better songwriter because the narrative was an artist. And so that was cutting off a full stream of income for me in the boardroom because I was only having conversations around being an artist. So that's when it really for me, and that was a few years ago now. And so that was really like, an impactful moment that made me take entrepreneurship as a music creative extremely, extremely serious because it's livelihood. Mm-hmm.
I love everything about that so much.
Yeah, it's important.
And I think oftentimes we think that like we talked about, we think that we can do this one thing, right? And like you said, you were selling yourself short in the boardroom.
That's
and you
right.
even mentioned the word negotiation. And I will share this with you. For me, the most empowering feeling that I got recently, I started business 7 years ago, started this podcast 4 years ago, was when negotiating a contract and I negotiated the money.
That's right. That's right.
And we're going to give y'all some free game on this podcast.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Going a little bit above what you're willing to accept so that when they talk you down.
Because it's coming.
When they talk you down, you right where you want to be.
That's right.
And I didn't realize that was a thing. And becoming confident and skilled in that.
Because we trying to be nice. We trying to make sure we get a deal. So we like, let's shoot for it. And then you'll land where you want it to be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The thing that I think about most often, and so just to make sure that we don't, get in any type of legal trouble.
Sure.
But I always think about this movie about this particular group and how they had signed contracts. They were underage, so their parents had signed for them.
Oh, yeah.
And they did not realize all of these people had to get paid.
That's right.
And so, just even putting on a show.
That's right.
Doing events, that costs money. It's not just, I'm selling tickets and there's this. So the next thing I want to shift to talking about is kind of funding and managing money. Because I think people think that, I made a sale or, I got a deal, so I'm making money. But people don't sit down to actually do the math and understand what it means to break even, understand what it means to break even over time, understand a profit and loss statement. In your case, you're diversifying what you're doing. So you got staff, probably got sound engineers, all of these people, they're not volunteering.
That's right.
This is work for them too. This is part of their livelihood.
That's exactly right. So with that infrastructure, I did create an LLC. Which was for a record company, so we could do business as a formal company. And inside of that infrastructure, a lot of that is happening with diversified thinking. So you have people that do marketing, where we outsource for that, so we contract people for that. Yeah. Advertising, that's a slightly different lane, so we outsource for that. When it comes to engineering and production, I keep one of my producers around me at all times. We're always producing something, even if it's content. Eventually they have to get paid. And so one of the things about that is, and I wish my team was, able to speak as well so they can speak for themselves, but it was about creating infrastructures for them to continue to make money, even when my company wasn't able to give them money. And that is how I structured my infrastructure as like mission and vision. So that's important, you know. So we always have to start with a mission and a vision before you go out and try to make money off of anything, you know. So my work is first off purpose driven, because God has blessed me to be able to. I don't have no shame in my game. God has blessed me. This is all God. It's not me. I'm just walking the steps. But He has blessed me to be able to see the music business and industry for the last few years. I didn't tell my age there, but he's allowed me to be able to work independently of the normal concepts, which is 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to encourage my entrepreneurs and my creators is, yes, you are still an entrepreneur, even if you get a job.
Even if you get a job, you are still an entrepreneur.
You are an entrepreneur. So my writers, my artists, my producers, my painters, my all-around creators, fashion designers, whatever you may be, you are still an entrepreneur, but you have to work because your rent is due, your light bill is going to be due, and if you don't have the 5 essentials, transportation, food and clothes, and roof over your head, and water, if you don't have those things, you won't be an entrepreneur because you won't have nothing to function from. You have no position of strength to function from. So in addition to a mission and a vision, understand that you have to have some source of income that you can bounce off of and fall back on when your business as an entrepreneur may not be at its full functioning space. And marketplace value fluctuates. So just because you had a hot summer where everybody wanted to release music in the summer, and now I'm talking about music specifically, if everybody knows they want to do their summertime releases and do this thing, that's a hot season for engineers and mix mastering engineers. So I'm trying to get you in the studio so we can work, because the hope is that you would love for me to mix and master your work. Well, if I can get X amount of clients, now I can say, okay, over X amount of time, and then we can close shop for 2 months. We can reopen, because in the music business, from end of October to January, that's off season.
Yeah.
Because it's all Christmas albums and the feel good family stuff. And you've got rappers and hip hop artists and R&B soul artists that are not doing Christmas albums. You got alternative pop artists and rock artists that are not doing that. And it makes no sense for them to be promoting an aura of an idea while Mariah Carey is playing everywhere.
Okay.
So it's an off season for a lot of creatives in the music space. And then, January is back around, businesses opening back up, people are getting ready to release their music. So if my marketing people are ready to do rollouts for the artists that we work with, so there's so much that goes into it. But again, that mission, vision, and having some source of income to really launch yourself into your entrepreneurial space is extremely important. So I like to really talk fundamental when I try to speak to creatives. So that's why you're going to hear a lot of fundamental stuff coming from me, because as creatives, we don't. But if I go too far out, we're going to skip step 1 and 2. And we'll be thinking we're ready for step 3, and we got so much work to do.
So much.
That's right.
I love that. My next question, since we're where we are, what's the most important lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur that you wish you knew when you started?
How to communicate properly. And that is life. As a young creative with a talent and a God-given gift, people that are veterans in the industry know that and can see the longevity in a gift. And so that would be it to that, for sure. That would be the answer to that.
Okay. I love that. So I want to ask you about innovation now, because that's a buzzword in entrepreneurship right now. And so how do you approach innovation and staying ahead of industry trends?
I just don't follow them. I just don't follow trends as much. It's good to be aware, but when you're trying to create an institution off what you're doing, you have got to innovate. You've got to be fresh. You've got to find a fresh way to speak to common emotions. This is all learned behavior, you know. So don't be afraid if you don't know how to do it now. All of these things can be learned. And so finding fresh ways to speak to common emotions is normally the way that I try to innovate as a creative, because that's all we're really doing. You know, whether it be through song, whether it be through fashion, imaging, branding, how we promote all of those things to other artists that they have to be doing for themselves. It's really just promoting, finding a fresh way to speak to common emotions, because our thing is to emote, you know, as creatives. And we have to be conscious that there's nothing new under the sun. So we may believe that we're saying something new, but we just found a fresh way, not a new way. We just found a fresh way to speak to people's common emotions and get away with it. And so that's really what creating music, or, you know, art is in general. I think art is innovative. Now I'm being kind of a creative head. I think art is innovative every time you take intentionality with your processes. It's innovative. If you copy and paste, that is not innovative. So
Oh, say that for the people in the back.
Yeah. If you copy and paste, I can't give credit to the innovation. But if you take intention to what you create and why you're creating it, then you are an innovator as a creative. That's right.
So good. So good.
That's the truth.
So as we wrap this up, for the aspiring entrepreneur, maybe there's someone listening and they thought about becoming an entrepreneur in whatever industry, whatever way.
That's right.
Any advice, any parting words that you will want to leave them with to, you know, kind of be their springboard?
Yep. You must always function from a position of strength. And that position of strength can be found in many different ways, but it is up to you to find out what that means. A lot of times it is using your brain. Thinking critically about how to go through processes that can create longevity for whatever it is that you are wanting to get yourself into or have gotten yourself into as an entrepreneur. And the last thing that I would say, outside of function from a position of strength, that doesn't mean power. That means finding the wherewithal and the self-motivation to get up and do the same thing over and over and over again, even when nobody's looking, nobody's paying for it. Know that it's going to happen for you. Believe that it's going to happen for you, and stand on the business.
Stand on business.
You got it.
I love that. Brandon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Yeah, I love being here. Thank you. And everybody out there listening, I love y'all. Take care.
And that's it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Entrepreneur Happy Hour. A big shout out to our guest today. Thank you for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. If you would like to connect with them, their handles are in the description. But also, if you go to our website, theentrepreneurhappyhour.com, you can find more information about them, be able to read a little bit about their story, and connect with them as well. We hope you found inspiration and valuable takeaways in today's conversation. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode. Stay connected with us on social media and visit our website for more episodes, sponsorship opportunities, and upcoming pop-up events. Until next time, make sure that you are chasing those dreams, and remember that success is just one step away. All right, that's it. Until next time, cheers.
The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the guest and not necessarily reflect the views of the host, Kimberly Denise, or the Entrepreneur Happy Hour podcast. This podcast is a project of the Flourishing Agency, LLC.